And here we are. We're back. Welcome to a new week, man. I'm glad you made it. Hope you and yours are safe and sound. I hope everything is going well in your neck of the woods, whatever part of the country you are in. I hope you had a good weekend, man. It's been so much since the last time we spoke. So welcome back to the program. Let's go live. Let's go with Lamont King. We got a new time this week. We're gonna adjust to 5 p.m. just to see what things are looking like out here. Because a lot of y'all were saying, "Well, I get off work and I'm still on at work, and I didn't know." And I was like, "Forgive me, because I didn't know. It's 30 million Americans out of work, so I just assumed you was one of them. So I just put it on 4 o'clock, just hoping that you would make it. But I thank you for tuning in. So we're gonna do 5 to 6 this week. Again, this is completely viewer supported. Thanks to everybody that stayed with us last week and tuned in and became sponsors and partners. You can see the situation on the bottom of the screen is our Cash App, completely viewer supported. And please, if you're watching this anywhere other than YouTube, go to YouTube and subscribe so you can get the notifications. And we're trying to reach 1,000, man. I got 500 and some odd subscribers, and they told me I needed 1,000 in order to monetize the channel. So if you want me to stop asking you for money, subscribe to the channel so I can get that monetization going. All right. Welcome to the program. So right now, actually nationwide, it just wrapped up. There was a moment of silence. That's why we were off air. 8 minutes and 46 seconds in honor of George Floyd, in remembrance of. So that there was that. We'll get you updated on some things that came out today. That's all over the place. The news is all over the place. I'm going to play this real quick just so we remember, never forget.
It was Freddie, Sam, Corey, Eric, Philando, Ahmad, Steven, Kenneth, Amadou, Jonathan, Christian, Terrace, Sean. Killed him a day before his wedding. Jamal killed him while he was in handcuffs. Mike killed him while he had his hands up. Kamani, Ramali, Phillip, Alton. About 3 Kevins, about 2 Jordans.
I do not own the rights to this content, but I just wanted to play that to set the show off, man, and realize what we out there protesting for. And never forget, I don't know the person that made that song, but that song is awesome. Set to the old DMX Cisco joint. And if you've seen the video on social media, you can look it up, man. He literally names quite a few, not all, but quite a few, and many of individuals, our black brothers and sisters, have been killed by the police in recent years. So that's a dope little tribute. But yeah, man. So never forget. And also, while we at it, man, the elections is November will be here before and I wanted to play this song in honor of the man who we need to fire. You know what I mean?
Why are you detaining me?
This is his anthem.
You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job.
It's a remix. Shout out to Remix God Suede.
For nothing. You about to lose your job. You about to lose your job. Get this dance. You about to lose your job.
Shout out to Suede, the Remix God, and Marquise. I don't know if you know those are the guys that usually do most of the remix. They set news clips to music, and what they do is, you may not be familiar. They produce the music. It's original composition, so they'll get the publishing rights to it and they'll upload it. And now that song is actually available on all music platforms and stores. And you can buy it, and they break down the proceeds. So they split it between themselves and the artist, and who in this case is the lady from the video. So shout out to them. That's what's up. All right, man. Let's get into it, man. I'm gonna jump right into the guest, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all. So I got a guest today. This brother I've known for many, many years. And the conversation has come up recently regarding, how do you deal with people with differing opinions and people who are on the other side of the political aisle in these tense times. And many of the times that conversation revolves around, how do you deal with your white friends? How do you deal with your Republican coworkers or family members? But an even more challenging conversation that, in my opinion, is harder to have is how do you navigate spaces with your Black Republican friends and family? How do you navigate those spaces with those conservatives of color? And what are they saying now? So I wanted to bring on this guy, man. He has his own podcast called reachingamerica.org. He's a staunch conservative, advocate for the Republican Party, and I wanted to hear from him in his own words, just kind of see where where he's at in these days and times. So, welcome to the program, Mr. Derrick Hollie. What's good
What's up,
with you,
Lamont?
baby?
What's happening, bro? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, you got me. Okay, cool.
Good to see
I
you.
had to switch earphones and
Good to
everything.
see you, man.
Good seeing you, bro.
All right, so we've known each other for a minute, and I was a
20,
regular
20 plus
on your
years, 20 plus years.
yeah, 20 plus years, and I was on your podcast about a year ago,
Mhm.
um, and it was a big situation at the time. We disagree on a lot politically,
Absolutely, yeah.
but you're one of those guys who really can argue their point. So you, I mean, for real. Some people you get in those conversations and the person you having a debate with is not even can't even hold their point. You're like, what are you doing? What are you even talking about? But
Gotcha.
the conversation that we used to get into, you really could make the case for Black Republicans, the hows and the whys. So I kind of want to know before we really get into the nitty gritty, specifically about Ben Carson, Colin Powell, and your president in recent days. I want to get some background on you. How did you end up on that side of the aisle?
Well, that's a good question. And so I would go back to, let's see, 2000. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I did not vote for him in 2012.
Mm,
The reason why, after becoming a business owner, running your own business, seeing how things kind of work, you start seeing things through a different lens. And so it's interesting that I left Radio One in 2002. We was working
mhm,
together back then,
yeah.
and so and I started the business, worked out of the basement of the house, and went through a couple of different presidents. But Lamont, I can tell you right now, my business did not thrive under the Democrat leadership of President Obama. So we took off when I resigned from Radio One. It was under the Bush administration, and so it was hard getting started. But contracts started coming in, and so then the 8 years under the Obama administration, we saw contracts dry up, and it wasn't just for me, but it's for a lot of other business owners as well. In addition to that, I just again, like I said, started seeing things a little different, um, and then started looking at policy as opposed to the person. And so even now, when I look at policy, man, some of the stuff that the Democrats are spewing is just not the best for African Americans.
Well, I mean, okay, that'd be true. Well, neither one of the parties have
Yeah, sure.
policy that benefit African Americans. So for you to say that what drove you was a financial reason,
Mhm.
drove you to the Republican Party was a financial reason, but what drove you away from the Democratic Party is because they weren't meeting the needs of you as a Black person. Those are two different reasons.
No, no, it wasn't. See, so you put that out there that wasn't meeting the needs of a Black
No, that's
person.
what you
No,
just said. That's what you just
policy,
right.
policy,
Okay, policy. That's
policy.
what I'm saying, though.
As you know, one of the biggest things that we talk about, Lamont, and we're going to have a huge social justice campaign starting this week, is
Mhm.
around energy poverty. And I
Right.
talked about that all the time on
You
my
did.
show.
You did.
And so, with that being said, man, if you were struggling to pay your electric bill before COVID, oh, sure, you're definitely going to be struggling to pay your electric bill now. And so, if you start looking at policy, not the person, you will see that the policies of one party is best suited for minorities and people who are struggling right now as it relates to paying your electric bill. Period.
Is that short term or long term? Because
That's
you
long term. That's
how
long term.
how?
Well, one of the things, like for example, back in right before COVID broke out, end of February, beginning of March,
Mhm.
I was invited back to give witness testimony for the House Natural Resources Committee on a hearing for HR 5435. In that hearing, Lamont, they seek to stop all offshore energy exploration, which would eliminate thousands and thousands of jobs held by Black people who down in Houston, Louisiana, do quite well for themselves because of oil and gas jobs. Period. It's been that's the way it's been for years. And so for them to start talking about eliminating jobs that people have had for years, it's not a good thing. And I will go back to uh, Southwest Virginia, where my grandfather, my parents are from, uh, Clinchco to be exact.
Mhm.
My grandfather used to be was a black coal miner. And you go back to this area right now where they've shut down the coal mines, because I'm not talking about coal, I'm talking about natural gas.
Right.
When you shut down these coal mines, people right there, the people there are struggling, man. When you start talking about poverty in the Appalachia, there's no comparison. The people in urban cities, at least you can get your WIC card and go down to the store and get you some sodas, some chips, and that kind of thing. When you're living out there in the Appalachia, ain't no store for miles. And I
Mhm.
cannot tell you the number of people that I saw whose houses, the roofs had holes in them, and they couldn't afford to get them fixed. So they had a blue tarp with tires holding them joints down. So that's poverty, man. And so when you start talking about eliminating jobs for people who have, life careers in oil and gas, I think you're asking for the same type of thing that you see
Well,
in Appalachia.
I mean, so okay, one aspect, one angle, environmental racism. And you've been shining a light on that, for quite a bit of time.
Hmm.
But I feel like there are so many other issues that blanket us as a people. Not saying and let me preface my position because I'm not saying Democrat versus Republican. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
we black people should be Democrats. I, I
Sure,
I have challenges with the two-party system anyway. Right.
absolutely.
And
I'm
and
with you,
and
bro.
and the other qualifier is I believe that naturally black people have a conservative mindset.
Sure.
We don't wanna believe it, but it's a lot of things that, the way we were raised was more conservative
Yeah,
by
absolutely,
definition,
bro.
not even by party, but by definition.
Hmm.
Black people ain't just your grandmother was, "Hey, you ain't gonna be out there just doing anything." That's
That's right.
that's a
That's right.
conservative mindset.
Hmm.
But when it comes to party, history has shown us that the people that represent the mindset that represents the current Republican Party, because everybody will go back to the party of Lincoln and all that. The
Hmm.
current Republican Party um, goes out of their way to, it seems like, to keep their foot on our neck.
Well, I have a different perspective on that. Mine is more so, all right, the Democratic Party, they have for years taken the black vote for granted,
Sure,
while the Republican Party claims they want black people, but do very little in going out to garner that black vote.
sure,
And so I wouldn't necessarily say they got the foot on the neck. I wouldn't say they go as far as say that because, let's go off of energy. Let's talk about education, for an example.
okay,
All right, education. One of the things that the Republican Party, one of the things I talked about on our show, when you were on, is school choice. And Lamont, you're an educator, so you would be school choice. So having an opportunity, if you're in the inner city, to send your child to get a voucher, just like you got a scholarship, you get to pick and choose the college you want to go to. Well, this administration now, and even Bush before that, was always seeking for school choice and having people in inner cities to have an opportunity to choose through a voucher what school they will attend. But under the Democratic leadership right now, no school choice. Everybody should put money into public schools. Meanwhile, you got celebrities and entertainers and a lot of bougie black people. When we can, we will send our kids to the best private schools that they can attend. And then we'll say to ourselves, well, I want my kids going to that school over there. And so that's sort of hypocritical to me. And
not
so when you
necessarily.
start,
But if you know that historically that public school in your district has not received the support over the years for whatever reason, and you know it's not a good school in that moment, of course you're not going to choose that. But by and
and
large,
so,
why not fund the public school system?
well, the public school system has been failing us for years, even
Well,
when we get the funding.
I mean,
Look
that's a
at look at Prince George's County. How just some of a lot of the, I would say, the, the superintendent, the last guy they had ousted him out of there, and all the I would say corruption
yeah, you
that
talk corruption.
exists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's I
corruption.
mean,
But that corruption trickles down. Use Prince George's County, use Baltimore City, use all these inner cities. That corruption trickles down into the schools and funds that shouldn't go. Governor Hogan, right here in Maryland,
mhm.
last year, couldn't understand why millions of dollars that was set aside for air conditioners for schools was never used. They can't even find the money now. And so when you start talking about issues like that, and then you have a situation where a parent is in the inner city and they want a chance or have a voucher to send their child to a different school, they should be granted that opportunity.
Well, that also it's the same Governor Hogan, who took
Yeah.
money out of that to say we need more prisons. That's the
He's a
same
different
Hogan.
dude.
Same hold.
and still fighting them on the HBCUs too. So
Yeah,
I ain't gonna,
right.
yeah. So
That's
that's why Lamont, when you say, uh, Democratic Party, Republican Party, um, if it ain't no right or left wing, man, it's all the same bird.
on the same bird. It is. All right. So that being said, smart brother like yourself, focus on policy.
Mhm.
First, focus on logic and reason. Business owner, focused on money or the success of your business. Now let's take all that off the table.
Sure.
Now let's talk about
Come on, we can't take all that off the table. Now that's kind of hard.
for the sake of conversation and context. We're
Okay.
talking about a man in a position in the White House who basically hijacked your party because he was not a Republican.
No.
He basically hijacked it. Well, it was hijacked first by the Tea Party, and then he hijacked that. So now we're talking about what we see on the news the last few days, the buzzword systemic racism. Right now, everybody's aware of it. Most of us, we've known it all our lives. Now it's a talking,
Yeah.
right? So we have one side that really has no commentary on it, no opinion on it. So I haven't named two Republicans that have come out and be like, yeah, we need to fight systemic racism. Old guard Republican leadership. Have you? Can you throw a name out?
No, but I would.
It's just a question.
No, I can't say that. But when you start talking about systemic racism, I can't put it all on Republicans, Lamont, because I look at the white girl up in New York who threatened to call the police on that brother who
Sure.
was bird watching.
Sure.
Okay, she was a supporter of Hillary Clinton, donor and everything. And so the new phrase that I'm hearing that was for people from New York, they're calling them liberal racist.
Oh,
So
sure.
so that's what I'm saying. It just can't be one side, man. I don't think it's right.
But they're just white. They get to do that.
And these parties, both
Yeah.
of them for the predominantly white.
Right. But what? So you look at people like professional sports league owners. You look at organizations
Another step in the back
NRA.
direction.
You look at these big PACs. You know what I mean? They all will pretty much lean right. So
With the PACs, no, that's equal on each side now with the PACs. You look at what Soros.
Okay. I'm saying the ones who would seem oppressive to black people. Let's stay with NFL. Let's stay with NFL because we got a big apology out of Roger Goodell. Let's stay with NFL. So with an organization that you knowingly has been public about not advocating for black people.
Sure.
Right. So let's put it just like that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel as a black man who's aligned with the party and that leadership? That's the question.
Well, what is so that Roger Goodell is a Republican? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying he's a Trump supporter.
How do you know? Oh, we ain't gonna get at that. What I will say is about the NFL.
I don't know what he does with his money or his vote.
I don't know. Okay, right. So agreed. But here's the thing: with the NFL, Shorty, I went to college on a football scholarship.
Yes.
And I love football, but at the same time, Lamont, I can't believe I haven't stopped watching the NFL for what it stands for all these years. And so Roger Goodell, he ain't doing nothing right now but capturing the moment.
Absolutely.
Because God dang it, you wasn't down before,
right?
So how are you down now?
Right.
And so even the NFL took a step back. Lamont, they ain't got but 3 black coaches this year.
Right.
And I don't know what's going on with the NFL right now, bro.
Yeah,
it's.
Well, you know what's going on. So there's a story out today that explains what led to the apology. And there was some internal official who kind of brought it to the attention, wrote a letter, an internal memo, was like, you're missing out on, like you said, on a moment. And I think it was happening. That conversation actually was happening just before Drew Brees put his foot in his mouth. And so that just was the spark to where he had to address it, because it's going to come out later. This is my theory. It's going to come out later. They probably were ready, the players, to say, we're not playing next year. I fully believe that. I believe that conversation was being had behind the scenes. We're not playing.
I would say with
him.
Maybe with some of the the players who are very well established. But if you was a
No,
first, second year
no,
player and you ain't making but minimum wage, man, you trying to get out there
no.
and ball.
This history is happening right now, and I believe that conversation was being had, and they would have had the momentum to convince everybody in that league not to play. Guarantee you, it's going to come out. Somebody's going to say in an interview in the next couple of weeks that was what was going to happen because all of a sudden, right?
Uh-huh.
We as the NFL, we believe Black Lives Matter, and we're against police
Right.
brutality. How?
Yeah,
That's
right,
all
right, right,
Colin
right.
said.
Yeah.
That's all he said. And now you can echo that, or now you believe it all of a sudden.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
saw the video and now I believe it. No, like that's ludicrous. But
Right,
I
right,
just
right. Which is,
it's just so Colin Powell, moving forward.
mhm.
So Colin Powell, he comes out and completely takes a position against your president. He says, with what he's been doing lately, I'm paraphrasing, with what he's been doing lately and his behavior and his actions, talking about using the troops against American citizens and the photo op in front of the church with the Bible. I cannot no longer stand, and I will not be voting for this man in November. Ben Carson comes out the next day.
Ben Carson. I didn't hear the Ben Carson.
He continued to defend him and said,
Oh,
Colin,
Ben Carson continued to defend him. Okay.
yeah, defend Trump and said, Colin doesn't know what he's talking about. But again, as a black Republican, and that's your leadership, there's nothing in there that says, you know what, conservatives, we need to, black conservatives, we need to take a position because this is bigger than policy. Does that ever like just land in your lap where you say,
No,
you know what, this,
no,
why
no,
not?
it doesn't.
How?
Not. And so, first of all, let me address Colin Powell.
Okay,
Colin Powell, Lamont, we was doing a podcast. We talked about how sometimes the media can be very misleading.
sure.
And so, Colin Powell, this isn't new news for him. Colin Powell voted for President Obama, and then publicly supported Hillary Clinton. So he ain't never been for Donald Trump
Okay.
ever. So I, I will exclude him
But
from
I'm
that
talking
whole
about
thing.
party. He's all, I mean, he's
Yeah, he with Obama for sure.
right.
So give him that. I'll give you that. But at the same time, when you start talking about policy, just go back to this energy thing. You talk about billions and billions of dollars just on this energy thing. Because energy, bro, it's like a drug. Whoever's got it or is in power.
Yeah.
And energy is power, no pun intended. And so when you start talking about this shift right now, even with this Green New Deal, it's more than just the Green New Deal and going green. It's a shift in wealth and a shift in power. And so that's what it comes down to, all these different policies, who's in control.
Mhm.
And so right now, again, when you start talking about, I go back to energy, it ain't the best thing for black people, man. It ain't. It just ain't. They
Which
want to
part?
eliminate
Which
natural gas.
which
The
part?
Democratic Party and Joe Biden want to eliminate natural gas. And so, I've been screaming it for 5 years. There was an article. You'll hear more about this with our campaigns starting to launch this week.
Mhm.
But Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Mark Muriel, the president of the uh,
Urban
uh,
League?
Urban League,
Yeah.
all now says, you know what, yo, pump your brakes, Joe. We need natural gas. It's something that we can use as we transition to a more clean energy system. And so now, Joe, what you going to do? Again, you can't eliminate all the fossil fuels. You just can't click the switch and say, yo, we're going to switch over. Can't do it. It ain't going to work.
Well, okay. Again, I know that's your wheelhouse.
Mhm,
The environmental racism, the energy, the poverty, disparity, all that.
mhm,
I get all of that.
mhm.
Um, but I feel like,
Education too, bro.
well, education. But so I feel like though, from a party standpoint, um, in recent years, and I'm talking the last few presidential cycles, so that's what, 20, 25 years. I feel like conservatives, the neoconservative movement, the Tea Party movement, the just the Republican Party itself, in the long run, there are no tangibles for Black America. Now the movement,
Now, let me give you one. I can give you
give me
one.
one, give me one.
Criminal justice reform. Okay. They passed last year the First Step Act. That was the largest overhaul of the criminal justice system in 25 years since Bill Clinton enacted the whatever the you know what I'm talking about. I can't call it
Wasn't that draft initially drafted before 2016?
no, I'm talking about
First
the
Step Act.
bill that clip. No, the first step. No, the first step act was passed last year.
When was it passed? When was it passed?
No, it was drafted by this administration. Yes, and so the largest crime bill in history that was signed into law by Bill Clinton was actually written by Joe Biden, the one that's got all these black people still locked up trying to get out.
Sure.
And so when you say give you one tangible, that's one tangible because when they passed this First Step Act, there was a lot of Republicans was like, yo, hell no, it's a jailbreak, let people out of prison. But they got it passed, man, and it passed unanimously in the House, which is Democratic run. Then it went to the Senate and they passed it there too. And then the president signed it.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to go to Google because one of our viewers right now says it was drafted in 2009.
No,
so we're going to fact check. We're going to fact that.
Fact check it, baby. Fact check it.
So let's get a second tangible because here's the thing. I hear this talking point, about Joe Biden earning our vote, right? And this is from Democrats. Joe Biden has to earn our vote. He has to earn the black vote. And I'm like, but nobody says that about the Republican side. That they have to earn it, and it's just automatic. It's almost like death row. Y'all are like death row. It's like if you don't want the Democrats all in the video, come to the Republic, come to the party of Lincoln. That's like y'all number one. Come to the party of Lincoln.
I don't hear that.
No, all the time. The party of Lincoln. Lincoln is the one that freed the slaves. Come to the party of Lincoln. Even though if you really are a student of history, you'll know that they kind of switch sides. The mindset switched sides. During the early part of the last century. So what we know as a Republican back in the day was a Democrat. So the party of Lincoln rhetoric is incorrect. It's a misnomer. Never heard that. You've never heard that.
I'm trying to figure out draw the comparison. I was looking at that crime bill too.
So yeah, look that up. So
this is Vox, the controversial 1994 crime bill that Joe Biden helped write. Explain.
No, I'm talking about First Step. I was talking about
First Step Act. Oh, the First Step Act. Yeah, that was. I know for a fact that was a Trump administration who drafted that. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So no, just what we our common understanding of both parties. They've kind of switched over the years, and that's due to.
I think people say that. I do, but I think it's misleading though.
It is misleading, but so is the party of Lincoln. So is when you say that, when a person says that, that's very misleading as well, because Lincoln was not a champion of black people. He didn't sign the documents that freed the slaves because they were black.
Yeah,
that was a business arrangement.
Absolutely. For sure.
So that's misleading too. But I'm saying here and now, 2020, I heard Armstrong Williams this morning.
Oh.
And he absolutely had a departure from your president like I've never heard. I mean, he was a champion of both the Bushes. He's been a champion of Trump, and he took a departure from him like I've never heard. So, I guess my question to you, as a black Republican or a black conservative, if you will, what do you think is happening? Is there a split? Is there a possible departure for some black folks who are like, you know what, I'm all party, but I'm people first?
I actually saw a poll yesterday. Believe it, I wish I could find it, but I want to be looking all distracted when I'm on. It was that his base is still the same, 89% Republicans, and there was an increase with blacks in support of him. This was yesterday. I read that, man. So I don't know if that's the case.
Do you trust polls?
No, but at the same time,
that doesn't even sound realistic.
Huh?
That doesn't even sound realistic.
It's not the first time that's been said. I wish I would have brought it and had it ready for this right here. But next time you have me on, I'll be a little more prepared. Okay, but yeah, and so again, I go back to that right there.
What do you think that speaks to?
I think it speaks to, like, right now, because I know one of the things you sent me to. You said most people. You said that email you sent me. You said most people are most people.
Yeah. That's my signature.
Oh, okay. I want to use that, bro.
Yeah, most people don't realize that they are not people. Yeah,
right. I like that. So with that being said, even with these protests right now, and the call for defunding and doing away with police departments. Okay, most people would agree that what happened with Floyd should not have happened. That it was murder on national TV. But at the same time, most people would agree that we can't defund police departments.
Right.
We can't. You got to have those.
Right.
And so again, that, and they were talking about this earlier today, even with Joe Biden, because I look at the mayor in Minneapolis, who was one of the most vocal people in support of what happened. Well, he got booed by the same people who was like all in for him because he said, I ain't going to defund the police. Mayor Muriel Bowser, that lady allowed them to paint Black Lives Matter on 16th Street. And Bama said it was a good gesture, or whatever it was, an empty gesture. Quote, it was an empty gesture because Muriel Bowser has always been on the opposite side of Black Lives Matter because she won't defund the police department. And so when you start talking about that right there, and we get most people aren't going to agree with that. And I think that's going to come back and bite the Dems in the ass come November when you start trying to make people decide, yo, we want to defund the police department. It ain't going to happen, Lamont. It ain't going to happen.
It's not. And the unfortunate part about this, and I was going to say this before I read this comment, James said that the defunding effort is a small fringe of the protest, not even a primary effort. Let's not let that be a distraction.
That's not true.
The primary. Hold on. This is what I was going to say, though. It's an emotional reaction, but now it's front and center. Yeah. Now it's the talking point.
Sure it is, bro.
Now it has become a next phase of the movement. This is what we're saying this week. And it's just not as much as I want complete reform top to bottom, as much as I want to tear down the system and rebuild it, as much as I would want to set a fire out here. I know that one. That one is not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's so problematic for a number of reasons. One, basically, you need the police. You need some type of law enforcement. I don't care if you start from scratch. You need a sheriff, even if it's just one sheriff per major city. You got to have something. You can't have nothing. So there are some people who don't understand what the defunding is. Is it we taking away their budgets? Are we taking away the military helmets and tanks? Are we taking away overtime? Are we taking away benefits? Like, there needs to be a deeper discussion, more comprehensive on what it actually means, because defund the police makes it sound like to the average person protesting, get rid of the feds.
For like Minneapolis, that's what they want. In DC, that's what they want.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. And I think they're even when we saw with this new justice and policing legislation that came out today, that the Democrats and Pelosi, led by Pelosi, came out with the JIP legislation, which I'm like, JIP, that's perfect, because we're gonna get gypped. We definitely gonna get gypped.
No, why you say that, Lamont? Why you say we get gypped?
Because it does not address out all the things it does address, and I got it right here. I had it saved to the side, so I can briefly run through it. Here we go. Sweeping new. This is from Politico. A sweeping new reform bill being drafted by the House and Senate would ban chokeholds. It would limit qualified immunity, create a national misconduct registry, end the use of no-knock warrants in drug cases, and make lynching a federal crime, among other dramatic changes. Those are things that you would think should already be in place.
Sure.
So you mentioned nothing about attacking pensions. You mentioned nothing about holding officers liable, like an insurance premium. I was talking the other day. I was talking about insurance, right? Why wouldn't that line of work have some type of insurance mechanism attached to it? As dangerous and as volatile as it is, doctors have malpractice.
Sure, bro.
Attorneys have malpractice, but not police.
Nah.
It's I gotta pay car insurance, and I know when I leave the house, I don't expect to ever get in a car accident.
Right.
But I gotta pay it, so I can't use that argument like I'm a good police. I got a good record. I don't expect to ever be in that situation. Nah, my man, you still gotta pay that premium, in case it does happen. So those elements, I feel like left out. A lot of it was for show. I mean, they got up there with the Kente.
I know.
And,
I'm through with him on that one, man. I'm
I
through with him,
and
bro.
I
I'm
get
through.
it. I get what this moment is, but I think black people are over symbolism. We're over symbolism and words. So to me, I feel like it's a start. I'm not taking away any. There's so much layers to the movement. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, a lot of moving parts.
Mhm.
But I think this JIP, I think it's thin. It's light. It's thin.
I agree.
It's
I
it's
would
it's,
agree.
it's thin and it's light.
And like I said, I go back to what you said. Your whole the comment that you said. Most people. What does it say again, bro? Most
Most people
people.
don't realize that they are not most people.
I think most people.
Wait a minute, let me go to my email. Let me see what it said. Most
Yeah,
people.
because it's most
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Most people don't even realize that they are not most people.
Okay.
Everybody
Um,
wants to lump themselves in a general category, like I'm with it. I'm with the shits. No, no, you're not. You're not even hip. You think you're hipper than you are. Where it comes from.
and so with that, man, I'm really. You think I like to think the JIP thing, but I really do feel like that more needs to be done.
Yeah,
Accountability. The bottom line, it needs to be accountability. And in nothing that she put out there is there, accountability for what these guys have done. And then you got all of these officers who have these prior
yeah,
incidents
yeah,
who continue. It goes back to you having some insurance, who continue to be allowed to work. If you have a couple of these different things on your report on your record, um, where you've had somebody in a chokehold or somebody's got all these different complaints against you, sure, you got to go.
yeah.
That's accountability. But and I go back to I was on your frat brother show on Friday, rolling.
Rolling. Okay.
And we were talking about these police officers and and the pe- and candidates who are about to run in November. And Lamont, every candidate who runs on the Democratic Party, they always say, "Well, I won the support of the police union, of the FOP." And so, in my mind right now, if you are being supported by the FOP or the police union, you know what? That might not be the candidate that we need to vote for because you're in their pocket already. You agree to what they stand for. And so when you start talking about the change is going to become, yes, within the police departments, but it's got to come from those unions and those FOPs.
Absolutely.
As soon as them officers get in some kind of trouble, call your FOP, call your union representative, because they're going to fight for you, and most of the time, get them off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's where
yeah.
it needs to start.
And the relationship between the DA as well, because the relationship between the DA and the police department, I mean, that's an unbeatable combination. If
Yeah.
they're working in tandem.
Mhm,
And the things that really disturbed me recently was I hear so there was the incident in was it Buffalo where they pushed the 75-year-old down to the ground?
mhm,
So they
mhm,
pushed him down to the ground, right? So then they get suspended because the spotlight is on them because they probably would
mhm,
not have gotten suspended. One, if it wasn't on camera, and two, if it wasn't during the current moment.
mhm.
So then 57 of their fellow officers in that unit was like, we're striking from the unit because we
Is
feel
it that
like
many now?
yeah, it was
Okay.
57 because the two officers on the video said they were just following orders. So
Mm,
it's like that qualified immunity is vast because they can use I was following orders or they can use I fear for my life.
mhm,
Either way, you can't beat that.
mm.
So if you following orders, then that means that your commanding officer has to take the fall every time,
And he
and
ain't gonna do it.
that's not realistic.
Right.
We've seen it in a couple places where the mayor fired the chief of a small town because they I think it was the officer that shot and killed the guy in Louisville who's part of the protest. He wasn't a part of the protest, but he was dropping off food or whatever. This
Yeah.
was last week.
Mhm,
But it's got to be. It's a cop has to. Now, I'm not speaking for cops, and I'm not saying that it's a terrible line of work. I'm saying training has to change
sure.
because them dudes were doing nothing more than what they were trained to do. That's a
Yeah.
part of their training. A lot of people don't want to admit that. That's a part of
No,
their training.
shorty. I was watching Chicago PD and I paused the TV. I don't know if you watched that, but at the end of the show, one of the officers on the show had stabbed something in the suspect's leg, and then had his foot on his throat.
Wait a minute, this is a live show? This is like the
You
real
know,
show or
Chicago PD. Chicago is a
TV
television
show? Oh,
TV show. Yeah,
yeah.
but even there, Lamont, it's taught.
Yeah, oh,
You
yeah,
know, it's taught,
yeah, yes,
and it's almost accepted by them to
yeah.
do that.
And it, like I said, training, the militarization of our police force, I think is problematic because the whole, he made eye contact, so we chased him, or he ran, so we chased. Like I can run. Running is not equal to guilt.
No,
Doesn't mean that I caught a crime. I mean, that was, that I committed
for
a
a
crime.
black person, police after you gonna run anyway.
Yeah, right. And
It's just natural.
yeah, and it's part of their training. Like they have so much hostility and they escalate to force with their contacts with us.
So quick.
And that's training. And defunding is not necessarily like I heard DC, right? So their proposal was cutting the budget, defunding, and then putting the money in no, I'm sorry. The chief got on and said we're not defunding because a large portion of our monies in the budget go to bias training, community programming, and whatnot. And then the mayor co-signed it and said, yes, our budget was signed a couple of weeks ago, and not a penny less, not a penny more. We happy with it, and that's legitimate. That's legitimate.
Right. Okay.
For people on the ground, boots on the ground, you see defund police, you like, hey, take their money away. You're not even saying, the bigger. What does that mean? What does that look like? What's the solution?
Mhm.
And I think we need to be somewhere between the extreme of defunding and the other extreme of this lackluster JIP legislation. It needs to be somewhere in the middle.
With some accountability.
Accountability that makes more sense because accountability is just not there.
Don't nobody. They know they're going to get off. Lamont, I point, and it's not. When I look at this police brutality, yes, you hear more about the black on white, okay, but these police officers, some of it's black on black too.
What you mean?
Black on black shootings and officers committing crimes against black folks right here in Prince George's County. You remember late last year, that officer shot that brother who was handcuffed in the front seat.
In the back of in the car, yeah.
He's in the front seat.
Yeah.
That was that officer's second time shooting somebody.
Yeah,
How the hell you make it back to the police force after one time of shooting somebody?
Qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity, FOP.
But he just got sentenced, didn't he? I think
finally got sentenced.
Yeah. And that was quick. So we even then there's a line inside the blue line.
All right.
If you a black cop that violates, you going.
Yeah,
you going.
And so, in your case, right, the folks down in Atlanta, the two cops that got arrested for yanking those kids out of the car.
Yeah, 6.
One of them, huh?
It was 6 of them.
It was okay. I know 2 of them. One of them was a bruh.
Yeah.
Who I met.
Oh, one of yours. One of yours.
One of mine. Who I met down in Atlanta a couple of years ago. But
oh, you knew him.
Yeah, like, bro, what the hell are you doing? He didn't strike me as that kind of cute or bro when I was met him, but for the moment, it looked like he just lost it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, maybe I think it's accountability and it's training, man.
Yeah.
And so you got to check these cats who coming in there, who's coming onto the police department, because a lot of them are veterans. They come back already a little, messed up in their head, and so I think the slightest sets them off.
Yeah. True story. So we'll see about that one. Now we're gonna close out on this. So you're there's a bit, like I said before, there's a departure between supporters of Trump, and we're not even talking about party. We're talking about if you still ride for President Trump as a black Republican. If you do, tell me how.
I can't see myself voting for Joe Biden. I can't see that.
That's the only reason.
That's the only reason. And his policies.
Nothing else bothers you.
And of course, a lot bothers me, bro. A lot. I thought, matter of fact, last week on Monday, with the whole thing he did in front of the church.
Yeah.
I screamed to the top of my lungs, like, what the are you doing? What was that? What the hell was that? Because to me, bro, that was a lost moment.
Right.
Where he had the attention of the entire country, and he could have just took advantage of that and said something positive to bring us all together.
Right.
But he didn't. And so, yeah, I got a lot of problems with this dude, a lot. But when it comes down again, where my vote's going to go, it's going to be on the policy and not the person.
That's interesting. So you don't have any issue with how he emboldens um
I do.
the white
I know what you're going to
supremacist,
ask me. Yeah,
the white
because
supremacist
the other thing
nature
is, yeah, I
yeah,
do, I
his
do, I
base,
do, I do, I do,
his
because
base.
I said the same thing. I sent to, I think you would know. I ain't gonna call his name out, but a brother I know at the White House. He's the highest ranking brother there at the White House,
Okay, okay.
and so he's your frat brother, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
yeah.
Okay, and I said, yo, man, I said I'm concerned about what's going on right now, and I said I think the president needs to say something. I said he needs to. I said he cannot condemn Antifa and not white supremacy. You just can't do it. And so I said, there's going to be an issue about that come November. And I said, he needs to do something in terms of reaching out to black people. And the other thing that I've been calling him out on, which he has yet to do in 3.5 years of his presidency, is black media. He ain't done it yet. And so I think that needs to happen. I got a problem with that. And I got a problem with a lot of things, man. A lot of things.
But not enough to
Again, I go back to
walk away.
policy, bro, because after he's out of the White House, the policies are still going to exist.
True.
So that's why I say policy.
But also after the White House, that mindset, that bullish, brutish mindset that has emboldened his base, and his base, they're going to be around too. And
Yeah,
those
and so
players
will
and those Karens, all of those Karens who have power, they're still here too.
they're on both sides, but them Karens are on both sides, bro. Them Karens are on both sides.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
Karens are on both sides.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your transparency, man, and your forthrightness, if that's a word. And it's a curious thing, man. And I know a lot of people aren't comfortable enough to talk about and have these discussions. So I appreciate you coming on the show today, man.
Man, anytime, bro. You know, anytime.
Yeah. So your podcast, you're relaunching reachingamerica.org.
No, we're not relaunching reachingamerica.org. We got a huge social justice campaign that we're going to launch this week, and I'm going to get back on the air with the podcast because obviously I enjoy doing this, man, and this is a good thing, just getting a different perspective out to the people.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I certainly believe that you and I having this dialogue today certainly gave people a different perspective.
Yeah. I hope so, and to some degree. What's the campaign? What is it? What is or you don't?
It's going to be I ain't going to tell you, but it's going to be
Okay.
around energy poverty,
Okay.
social
Okay.
justice on energy poverty.
All right.
I mean, energy poverty is a social justice issue, man. And so now, again, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Mark Muriel are all saying what I've been screaming for the last 5 years, that we cannot do away with fossil fuels, particularly natural gas. And the other thing I'll add with that, last year, the United States became the #1 exporter of natural gas, oil and natural gas. And so how is it, Lamont, that our natural resources are good enough for the rest of the world, but here in America, we're like, nah, we can't use it. Nah. That's crazy. It's ludicrous. And I think it's very misleading to people to tell them that. Now, again, the climate change thing and everything, you won't hear me talk about that because I do believe it exists and we all play a part of it. Okay, we all do, but we have to transition. We just can't flip the switch and say
Right.
we're going to do away with fossil fuel
Right.
and particularly natural gas. It can't happen.
All right. Well, there you have it, Derrick Hollie. And hey, stand your ground, young man.
You know I will, bro. Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
And next time your man do some clown shit, I'm gonna have you back on.
Well, don't just have me on when he do some clown shit, Lamont. You know what I'm saying? So what?
That's
That would be every day then.
Hey, however it goes. All right, man. I'll get up with you.
All right, boy. Talk to you. Peace.
That's funny. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me put this up. He must have stock in fossil fuels. You think? Let me see. There we go. All right. Yeah. Yeah, man, Derrick Hollie, man, I've known him for a long time, and he's one of those people where, sharp brother in marketing, black business owner, so that the conversation will come from that. But we used to really get at it, man. I was on his podcast about 1.5 years ago because he He comes from that black Republican, black conservative angle, and he is all the way in, and you can't tell him otherwise. And it's really like he said, he really harps on policy. But for me, when you hear those people, when you get in those conversations and you hear people say it's not about the policy, it's about the person. I think in this scenario, it's different. You could probably use that in other situations, but I feel like this one is different because of um the effect that this president has had on his base and the violent elements that he perpetuates towards black people and people of color. People always say, "Oh, Trump used to like black people, and he just likes rich people." Nah, it's a little deeper than that. And when when you're in a position of power, that powerful, and your number one fans, your base, are unlearned and by and large not intelligent. Like this conversation we're having that we just had, me and Derek, like we're not gonna have that with other people who are Donald Trump's base. You're not gonna have that conversation. It's not gonna be about policy. It's not gonna be about civility. It's not gonna be about anything intelligent or constructive. And we're seeing that play out live on TV. Because you can't be Democrat or Republican. You can't be a part of a party, so to speak, that is really not about letting me thrive within your system and letting me be successful inside this American system of economy and or justice. It's not gonna happen. So yeah, man, that's that. But I'm glad it came on because you always gotta hear from both sides, and you gotta see what you're up against. You gotta be able to be like, oh yeah, okay, I take that, but what about this? Well, I take that, but what about this? Or maybe even you could see it my way, I see it your way. So interesting. Derrick Hollie, I'll have him back on to talk about his the environmental poverty and social justice campaign and see what that's all about. All right, I'm gonna close on this, man. I got a message. I'm doing different segments this week, so I got a segment called Hi Dad, where we get to hear from one of our elders in the community, our seasoned vets, if you will. I call them seasoned. So this is a message from an elder. It's called Hi Dad.
Happy every day. This is Alpha Papa giving you my thoughts of the today concerning the George Floyd incident. I would like for everyone, don't be surprised. Please don't be surprised during the trial of this police officer that the film, the video may be dismissed as inadmissible evidence by a judge. Also, look for and don't be surprised by a change of venue. This is a 21st century lynching. Wake up. Please wake up. This is Alpha Papa signing off. Thank you.
So yeah, man, this will be a segment called Hi Dad. It's codename Alpha Papa. He's a veteran, prior military service, sage, old wise elder in his mid-70s. He's gonna pop in from time to time with some words of wisdom and a little bit of life coaching to carry us through our day. So yeah, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Oh, real quick, because we are and so yeah, Hi Dad is what it's called. So yes, that's all I'm gonna say. Real quick, so Terry Crews, I gotta leave on this, and I gotta test this share screen situation. I gotta leave on this. So your man Terry Crews, I don't know if y'all seen this. So this was his tweet today, right? Defeating white supremacy without white people creates black supremacy. Equality is the truth. Like it or not, we are all in this together. And when I tell you, Twitter destroyed him again. He keeps asking for it, man. I don't know. He finds a way. They call him bootlicking Terry and buck dancing Terry and all that, but he always finds a way to we wasn't thinking about you, and then you had to say something. Now I'm thinking about you. And they destroyed him. All that, Terry. This ain't the time, man. This ain't the time. I got the audio though. I got some. This is Terry Crews right here. This is Terry.
I did not come to play with you hoes. I came to slay, bitch.
Yeah, Terry Crews letting y'all know, man. It's not a game. He know where his butter is breaded. His bread is buttered. he know how to get that check. So Terry, you're lunching. All right. Shout out to everybody that participated in protests and marches yesterday and all that. And also, man, hey, check with your fitness apps. Because I checked with my fitness apps and I was like, yo, what's up with my steps from yesterday, man? I put 6 miles in. I did like 15,000 steps, and they said they running a special this week and next week, protest steps. So all your steps is 2 for 1. So I got 30,000 from Saturday, man. We marched across. It was BLMPG, Black Lives Matter, Prince George's County. We walked across the Wilson Bridge, man. So I got 2 for 1 steps. I got my protest steps in. So yeah, man, check with your apps. Heard some wild stuff too. I'm walking with the police in the march, not by choice, but they was right next to me. So I'm ear hustling because I'm all covered up or whatever. So I know they wasn't paying attention to me, but I was paying attention to them. So the chief, I don't even know where he was. I don't know what his position was, but he took a phone call right behind me, and he big talking too, white dude. He happy. He's like, yeah, no, it's peaceful out here. You know, I'm so proud of my county. I love my county. You know, they know how to do it right. I was like, I want to turn around. I was like, fuck that supposed to mean? Like I had the elbow pads and everything. I was like, man, I came for the get down. You know what I'm saying? This is too peaceful for I almost got offended because I was like, this is way too peaceful. And then for you to say that on the phone, like we slacking. We out here slacking. You supposed to be scared. This ain't that. I was mad. I was like, wait, mad. He was like, this how we did it right. Yeah, it's nothing. He was like, yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing, man. They're just walking. Yeah, they're not even chanting. They just, yeah, it's PG. I was like, oh, I felt some kind of way, man. But anyway, all right. So tomorrow, 5:00, we back at it. Catch the replay of this again. Completely viewer supported. If everybody wants to send $1, I'm good with that. There's 12 people that was watching. Send $1. That's $12 for the hour. It's $12 an hour. That's more than I get paid at my day job. So I'm with it. Subscribe to my YouTube. This situation is about to get bigger and better. I'm about to roll out all the podcasts so you can be able to hear the audio from these shows later on and all that. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. I appreciate it. Stay safe. Don't do nothing I wasn't doing. If you did, don't say you got it from me.